Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're listening in from. Welcome to the very first webinar between YALDA and College Guide Africa under the theme, How to Apply to Universities and Utilize Opportunities in Universities for Development. Today, we're going to be exploring various tips and how to increase the awareness among youth on the importance of higher education and how it can foster development in Africa. Before we go on, very quickly, I'd like everyone to write their name in the chat room and where they're listening into the conversation from in the next 30 seconds. Okay, I can see Leandre from Rwanda. Anyone else? Hello, Niati from South Africa. Hello, Nelago from Namibia. Hi, Milaika. Hi, Ayo. Hello, everyone. Very nice to meet you all. Okay. Hello, Wonderson from Ethiopia. Thank you for joining us today. So my name is Feolami Awe Joseph, and I am the founder of College Guide Africa, and I am going to be the moderator for today's webinar. Okay, I can see more comments. Hello, Paulino from Mozambique. Hi, Philip from South Africa. Very nice to meet every one of you. Okay, so very quickly, I'm just going to go through the etiquette for the webinar. Okay, so when you enter the roundtable, please make sure that you're on mute at all times unless you are called upon. Please remain on mute throughout the roundtable. Ensure your camera is off unless you're going to be speaking or being a part of the conversation or you have a question later on. Type your questions or comments in the chat box and put your name and your country. Those who speak or whose questions or comments are selected will be asked to unmute and then speak later on. And if you are asked to speak, you must introduce your name by yourself by your name and your country, and then you can repeat the question that you typed in the chat box. Okay, so very quickly, we're going to begin. Okay, so as I said before, my name is Feolami Awe Joseph, and I am the founder of College Guide Africa, which is the one doing the collaboration with YALDA today. So College Guide Africa is an online academic empowerment platform that I founded to help students in skill development and getting ready for higher education. So we help students from secondary school all up the way to joining the workforce. So it's for the young people everywhere in Africa and Africans in the diaspora. Okay, so I would be starting now based on the theme for today's webinar. So in the vast tapestry of global education, Africa stands as a continent for immense promise and potential. Many of us listening to the conversation today actually are from Africa. Yet within the promises that we have in Africa lie challenges that impede the realization of opportunities for the youth. So the webinar topic, which focuses on how to apply to universities and utilize opportunities in University for Development, is a popular discussion topic that College Guide Africa, now in collaboration with YALDA for the purpose of this webinar, decided to do. And this is an effort to address the challenges head on and empower African youth and educators with the knowledge and guidance needed to forge a path towards higher education and personal growth. So studies from ILOSAT show that more than 72 million youth in Africa are not in education, employment, or training. And the World Economic Forum states that by 2030, young Africans are expected to constitute 42% of the global youth. Africa plays a huge part in constituting economic development, which will initially begin through proper education. And more African youth need to understand the importance of higher education, learn how to apply to schools locally and abroad, and relatively increase their skill set development, which would assist them when completing their degrees and moving on to the world as outside of the university space. So College Guide Africa, now in collaboration with the Youth Alliance for Leadership and Development in Africa, YALDA, is contributing to efforts to increase the awareness among youth to promote higher education and foster development in Africa. College Guide Africa believes that every young person, regardless of their background, should be given a fair chance to get better access to education and career development opportunities. So very quickly, I am going to be introducing the speakers. Okay, so the first speaker I'm going to be introducing is Kwabena Wiafe. Kwabena is a final year student at the University of Cape Coast, and he's the co-founder of Tech for Everyone, and he's from Ghana. The next speaker I'm going to be introducing is Ayomide Fashola. Ayomide is a program coordinator at George Washington University, and she's from Nigeria, but she's currently based in the US. Esther Ajudenu is a founder of the Primacy Youth Development Initiative, the global lead African youth mentorship program, and she's the organizer for the Seller Fellowship, and she's from Nigeria. Yvonne Melamu is the HR director of the African Grain Investments, and she's from South Africa. Philip Anderson Samira is the former secretary, and he's the student representative council at the African Leadership University, which is in Rwanda. Sankepo Ndlovu is the research assistant at the Nathan Klein Institute for Psychiatric Research, incoming MA student at the UC Berkeley, and she's from Zambia. Mompoloki Makwana is the CEO of Employee Africa, and he's from Botswana. And last but not least, Amelia Colliver is the administrative assistant intern in the YALDA US branch, and she's also a master degree holder in public health at New York University in the US. So I'd like to thank all the speakers for joining us today, and I would like to welcome you all to the call. So very quickly, we'll be moving on to the introduction topic. So life after high school and secondary school is the start of endless possibilities, and for some, doubts for so many students. What advice would you have for African youth, both in Africa and in the diaspora, who are beginning the journey of applying to universities, leaving the comfort of being in high school or secondary school, and navigating their way through the higher education landscape? And I am going to be starting with Kwabena. Hello, Kwabena, can you hear us? Okay, if Kwabena isn't ready, then I will move on to Ayomide Fashola.
Awesome. Can you hear me well?
Yes, I can. Hi, Ayo.
Awesome. Perfect. Well, hi, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are tuning in from. Just first want to say thank you all for this opportunity just to be a panelist here. But to answer the question, I think it's a loaded question, but a good question at the same time. Really what advice I have for the African youth, both in Africa and in the diaspora, who are, just beginning their journey into higher education. For context, all my education has been based here in the US. I did my undergrad here as well as my master's. And now I currently work as, again, a program coordinator at George Washington University in Washington, D.C. But really just one piece of advice, I think when I thought of this question, I think it's one to embrace and to recognize that being nervous or even having a sense of doubt in this process is very, very normal. I think it's very daunting to kind of go from where you're comfortable into a whole different territory. So I think recognizing that those feelings are very, very valid and that is okay. But I'm also of the belief that two things can exist at the same time. You can both be nervous, but you can then channel that, right? And recognize that being nervous or being uncomfortable, that there's growth on the other side of that, right? So recognizing that and putting that into good use, even as you're engaging in a webinar like this and utilizing resources around. So again, a piece of advice is to recognize that there's growth on the other side of being uncomfortable. And then also recognizing that the landscape when it comes to higher education, it is hard in comparison to, right? The assignments,
Yeah.
everything is just on a different scale. So I think embracing that difficulty, but again, also remembering and believing in yourself that you're able to do hard things. And then of course, in this process, to remember to take care of yourself, right? To pour into yourself and also seek out resources, whether that's through mentorship or counseling and more to kind of help you throughout this process. So again, piece of advice, remembering that it is okay to feel the way that you feel, but also remembering
through university. That's the only way you'll be able to survive. So if Kwabena is ready, I'll be moving on to Kwabena to also give his insight on this question.
Okay. Please, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Kwabena.
Okay, so let me log out. Okay, sure. So, and everyone, good evening. I'm Kwabena Riafe, currently the final student in the University of Cape Coast, and I'm also the founder of Tech for Everyone. My advice for every student is that first of all, do a lot of research about various scholarship, because I always see myself to be like, if I knew the amount of information, the opportunity out there, maybe I won't find myself where I am, which is not bad, perfectly awesome. But I feel like making the internet your friend, doing a lot of research about various scholarship is the key. Do research about the degree that you are passionate about. Is it going to be relevant in the few years coming? Like, what are the degree that is making most money? And also develop yourself. You know, sometimes not everyone can get the opportunity to go to school right after when they are done with their high school. So develop yourself, read some books. I like books about entrepreneurship, personal development, and finances, right? So my advice for you is to do research about the various scholarship. You know, typical example is MasterCard. MasterCard give a lot of scholarship to students who are applying for their bachelor. Typical university is Ashasi. Yeah, so this is what I'll say for now. My internet was not all that ready, so but I think this is useful. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much, Kwabena. I completely agree. I think as a student who may have like aspirations and want to go into higher education and getting a bachelor's degree, scholarships can kind of alleviate the pressure you may have, because for some students, a big pressure they may have is being able to pay for their tuition. So I do believe, and I completely agree with you, that scholarships may help you, and a lot of research ahead of university. So I'd advise, and I agree with you, I'd advise a lot of students to also do a lot of research. So there are countless things on the internet when you want to apply to universities. And even you may even decide to take a gap year to discover yourself before you go to university. So research, as Kwabena said, and personal development. So very quickly, I'll be moving on to Esther.
Okay, thank you so much. So my advice to students who are transitioning into college, walk through on your journey to that destination. Also remember that success is not just about the school you attained, but it's more about the person you become, you know, after attending that school. Stay true to yourself. There's only one you in the world. In the university,
after high school, I didn't get, or I didn't meet the target, or I thought I didn't actually meet the target. So I was unable to read law. So by then, there were lots of issues around guilt, lots of issues around condemnation. Am I good enough? And so I didn't actually go to the university and ask. I just asked a couple of friends if I had actually met the requirement to do law. So it was quite challenging. And they were like, nah, man, you didn't. I'm like, okay, no worries. And again, I wanted to do mass communication. I realized that by then they had written the diagnostic examination. So there was no way I was going to do mass communication. And I wanted to do politics. And my grandma was like, nah, Philip, there is no way you can do politics. Please find something else. And the list goes on. So I had little or no choice at all. So I just chose social work. And by then, it was extremely difficult for me because throughout my childhood, teenage years, I had actually prepared myself to do law. So it was quite challenging. And as a result, my first undergrad was a disaster. You get, significantly, it was a disaster. So if that is so, the advice I have for young Africans are in three phases. First, be curious. And it was only in my second year I realized that now, with the grades I had, I could as well do law. But by then I'm like, nah, it's almost late. Let me just chill. Let me just continue. So first, be curious, try as best as possible to ensure that you do your baseline research or your baseline analysis to understand the entry requirements. And most significantly, I think it boils down to a thorough self-awareness. You must be able to understand what you want. Are you only pursuing this career because your parents, your mom, your dad, or your guardian actually told you to pursue this career, or you're pursuing this career because you feel inherently that I am really passionate about this career? You get, so that's one thing. And the second aspect is the aspect of compassion. There are times things may not necessarily work out the way you want, but you come on, take it easy on yourself. Be kind. You get, be kind. What sadness normally does is to put us in a cycle of us being helpless with regards to taking action to solve a problem, with regards to taking action to create a change. So come on, be kind to yourself. Things may not necessarily go the way you want, so be kind and take it easy on yourself. And in addition to being compassionate to yourself, man, the aspect of gratitude. Gratitude is very key. Try as best as possible to recognize how far you've come. You get, say thank you to yourself for actually showing up every day. Say thank you to yourself for the little successes you've achieved. So in summary, 3 things. First, be curious. And this curiosity is about self-awareness. Ask yourself, what are the things you're passionate about? What are the things you're keen on? And why do you want to do what you want to do? You get, and also be compassionate, be kind, take it easy on yourself, and show gratitude. Say thank you to yourself for showing up. Say thank you to yourself for how far you've come. And I think finally, the aspect of reach out to people if you need help. Don't suffer in silence, because university life can be quite challenging. So reach out if you need help. Don't suffer in silence. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Philip. That was really, really insightful. I believe that no man is an island. You can't work alone. You always have to have people that you're working with in order to be able to grow. And as you transition into university life, that becomes more important. Like, you would always need people while you're in university. So, and also, as you said, always be grateful at every step of the way, because many times things may not work out the way you planned. So even as you transition into university, you may want to apply for internships, and maybe an internship you have been praying that you'd get, you ended up not getting it. Regardless of what happens, still be grateful at every point in time, or even a scholarship that you applied for that you didn't get. Always, so enjoy the journey as you transition into university. Enjoy every step of the way and be grateful. Thank you very much, Philip. Now I'll be moving on to Sankepo. Sankepo here. Okay, if Sankepo is not here, then I'll be calling on Mompoluki. Okay.
All right. Good evening, and thank you so much for hosting me this evening. I will reiterate the ways that were shared by Esther and Philip and other speakers previously, talking about the importance of self-awareness. The reality is, when you are heading to the university and you are heading now, you realize that most of the transition going into university, you are going actually to a town as opposed maybe to a village, a small town where you were staying. Now you're going to a big city. So what keeps you grounded is self-awareness. Knowing who you are is really a powerful aspect of driving you to become the best version to the university. Not only going there to become someone who's going to earn or receive value, receive information, get learned, receive your certificates. The big question is, with who you are, what are you adding to the system? What are you going to add into that? I remember my first few days into the university, I already wanted to start a club. And it was coming from the element that I love speaking. I love public speaking. I like writing, right? So the element of who you are bringing a sense of value to the institution. You're not just getting. So the question is, who am I? Do I really know myself? Do I really know what I possess, the skills that I possess? Number 2 is the element of finding your tribe. People who can push you to become the best version of yourself. Everyone is available. You can find all kinds and all sorts of people from different backgrounds, different beliefs, different aspirations. Finding people who are channeling the energy into the direction which you are interested in will help you to thrive, will help you to grow and to become the best version of yourself. At Employee Africa, our focus is to transform the African workforce across all Africa. And we are realizing sometimes that the limitations of the human workforce is that institutions, people, government bodies, universities, the challenge is the lack of tribalhoodship, where people who are performing, people who are doing well, their voice is not heard enough. So who can you find to collaborate? Who can you find to, to mentor? Who can you find to, to learn from? Who can help you to change the mindset from just high school now into university life? And the last point that I'll look at is the intentionality to want to develop interpersonal skills. You are not an island, as Philip has shared. There are people with shared experiences that can help you, to deal with maybe challenges back home, challenges of finance, challenges of your social interactions. So find people not who are willing to incubate with you. Oh, no, let's not meet people. Oh, no, let's not go out. Oh, no, let's not do this. But find people who can actually work with you, throughout this journey, who are actually encourage you to become the best version of yourself. So it's very, very important that to take that aspect into consideration of developing those interpersonal skills that can actually help you to relate with people better. In the second year of my university, I had connected with so many people. Now I was getting to know people even within the city, people within the media industry, because my passion was around media, my passion was around marketing. And I found myself doing agricultural economics and now having a radio slot on national radio as a radio presenter while I was still in school. And it was coming from an element of wanting to develop myself beyond just the institution. It's not about the course you are doing. And now that led now to me finishing school and having nothing to do with agricultural economics and now venturing into an institution, Employee Africa, which is a magazine, which is a training hub across Africa and known for its amazing work. Now we are hosting the annual Employee Africa Summit. So this came from now leveraging on the networks, leveraging on the opportunities that the university is willing to give you, the resources, the people that you can never meet, but you are able to meet, with the exposure to go to learn from Europe, to go to learn from the USA, and now here locally in Africa, in South Africa and Botswana. I can tell you the networks that I have today in business, they're coming from university. I can text them, hey, do you know someone in Kenya who is doing this? I can go there. I want to go there to do a project, or I'm going to Nigeria. We have networks from Nigeria. One of them is called, Dr. Seno. He's a veterinary. This came from institution at Lehigh, at the US. So networking, getting to know people, it's very, very important. I know the saying, hey, people are witches, do your work, go back to home. No. There are people doors who opens to unlimited opportunities, network and improve on your people relations skills. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mompoliki. I completely agree with everything you have mentioned, especially building interpersonal skills, because with the way the world is channeling, with the implementation of technology and AI and so many changes happening in the world every day, one thing that would always stay is communication, right? So you constantly need to network and meet people in order for you to be able to develop yourself. Because even if you have an idea, you can't do anything with that idea if there's no one who can help you push the idea towards the right people that would help you to grow into the dreams and ambitions you have. So yes, I completely agree. And last but not least, I'll be calling on Amelia.
Yeah. Hi. Like she said, my name is Amelia. And just to give some context, I've been in school for a really long time. I first moved across the country for my bachelor's degree, and then I studied abroad in South Asia for 2 years, and then moved again to the other side of the country for my master's program. So I've been kind of all over the place, and I'm very familiar with how daunting it is to up and move from one place to pursue education. And I would say my advice would be in two parts. The first is to just try to take some pressure off of yourself. Life is really long and college is just the first step. So you don't need to be perfect, especially right at the outset. You can allow yourself to make some mistakes and to take a course or two just because they sound fun or interesting, to join clubs that will bring you joy, because you never really know where opportunities will come from. And you never know if something is going to spark passion in you. And if you don't succeed at something at the first time, it's really never the end of the world. And somewhat similarly, it's really important to forget that you're not alone. Leaving home can feel really overwhelming and lonely, but you really are surrounded by students who are experiencing the exact same thing as you. So if you find yourself struggling, you can reach out to others, and you'll be surprised to find how not alone you really are, even if you're super, super far away from home. And that includes reaching out to resources beyond your peers too. Like generally professors really want to be there and to support you. And part of their job is connecting with students. So I guess that would be my last little piece of advice, is to encourage you to use your mentors and teachers and professors as guides, because this is really meant to be an exciting time of like connecting with yourself and finding out what your passions are more than anything.
Thank you very much, Amelia. I agree that you're not alone. You're meant to, so basically, I see university as a community of people. Everyone has to connect together in order to be able to succeed. So there are a lot of on-campus activities you can do to be able to connect with people and to not feel as isolated. There are a lot of peer activities also that you can work with. There are a lot of in-classroom activities you can also do with your professors, with your student advisors, everything. So there are a lot of people out there to help you while transitioning into university. So thank you very much. So very quickly, I will be moving on to the main question. So everyone is going to have an individual question, and then we can kind of banter and discuss as time goes on. So I'll be starting with Ayo again. I don't know if Ayo's question can be put on the screen.
I'm able to see the question. I don't know if everyone else can see it, but I can see it on my end.
I can see the overall question. I don't know if you can see your personal question.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't see the personal one yet.
Okay. Kumo, I don't know if you can change that, please. Okay, so if it's not going to show, I'll just read out the question for everyone to hear. Okay. So, and I also to put it in the chat room. So the question for Ayo is, what key factors should African students consider when researching and selecting universities both at home and abroad? And how can they ensure that their chosen institutions align with their academic, cultural, and career aspirations? And also, how can students ensure that their applications stand out in a competitive field to effectively showcase their unique qualities and experiences?
Awesome, no worries. Awesome. Well, again, thank you again for the question. And I'll try to break it down because I know it's like 2-3-fold, so I'll try to break it down. But first part of that question is, what key factors should African students consider when researching and selecting universities, both here at home and abroad? So I have a few points, and if I'm able to also share these notes later, I can definitely do that. But first point that when I thought of this question is really, as you're doing research, someone said it earlier, make sure that Google is your friend. The internet is free, and there's resources available for you to understand what you're getting yourself into when it comes to searching for a university. But number one, right, it depends on your program, right? A lot of it depends on, does the university even have your program? For example, are you interested in biology or tech or consulting or business? Research to see if that university has your program. And then on the second fold of that, research the academic reputation and the quality of education at that said university, right? This can be found out through rankings. I know for the US, we have a US ranking system for our universities, right? So for example, if you're looking to be in the top 10 programs for biology within the country, be able to kind of filter your search to be that. You can look at rankings again, accreditation, even the faculty experience. If, for example, if there's deans or heads of the different colleges that you're looking into, look at their resumes. A lot of their information is public. You can look at their resumes. Have they been to conferences? What is their research experience, expertise about, right? So kind of honing in on if these are the folks that are going to be teaching you for the next 4 to 5 years, you want to make sure that you're putting your eggs in a good basket. So recognizing and doing that research on the back end. Again, like I mentioned, making sure that they have your program offering and also the location, right? Again, you are investing 4 years of your life into an institution. You want to at least make sure that you like the location that it's in, right? Practically, the weather. If you know you're not a fan of the cold, don't really apply to places that are cold, or, excluding outside of weather, right? Even, again, culture and climate. Also, do you want your institution to be in an urban setting or a rural setting, right? That impacts the culture and how you interact with the campus too. Even safety, right? Doing a research about, okay, what do the crime rates in my area look like in this university, right? And also twofold, what is the institution doing if there, for example, if there's a crime on campus, what is the institution doing to now support its students on that campus too? And then, of course, as it relates to location, even cultural diversity, right? As Africans, right, we want to have people who look like us, who sound like us, who can relate with us, right? So if that is important to you, making sure, does the university have for example, an African Student Association or African Student Alliance that you're able to join once you come into that university? And I'm not saying that can be a deal breaker, but I know for some people that that factor is very, very important. And then one of the panelists alluded to earlier about the cost, all right, going to university. For some people, it may be free. For others, it may not be. But being able to do your due diligence and research in terms of, do they offer financial aid? What does support look like for students after college, right, or in their time at the university? How much debt do people normally graduate with after their time at the university? Does the university have scholarships, grants, or even work study opportunities? So those are opportunities where students on campus can work on campus while being able to do their studies and also make some extra money that can help offset some costs for tuition, fees, books, and etc. And then two, again, like I mentioned, I'm a student affairs professional, right? I work at George Washington University, and we have a lot of support systems for our students, but not every institution is like that, right? So as you're doing your research, making sure, does the school have an advising center? Do they have counseling services? Do they have tutoring services, right? Because these are the things that you're going to need, for example, when it comes to final season, right? And you have peer mentors, or even does your professor have office hours, right? So having an understanding of what does this institution offer to me so that I can succeed here at the university, right? And then another point of, just as you're doing your research, look at the alumni network and the student success rate, right? For example, with an alumni network, these are the folks that have graduated from the institution, right? How are they doing, right? What is the minimum salary that folks outside of this university are making, right? And how involved are the alumni pouring back into the university? And I say this because if the alumni network at the university is strong, it is very telling of how the university treated the students when they were students at the institution, right? So for example, if there's lots of donorship going on, if alumni are constantly volunteering, that gives you the head knowledge of like, they probably had an amazing time here at the institution and they were properly supported, right? I wouldn't now support something if they weren't supporting me. So that's the essence behind the alumni network. And then two, lots of institutions have this program where a lot of the alumni are able to mentor current students, right? So seeing, you can probably even right now, I've done it before when I was, for example, applying to graduate schools. I literally searched up people who graduated from University of Georgia, right? And I was able to DM them and, hey, if you have an hour to talk to me about your experience at this institution, let me know, right? So I was able to ask them about opportunities. What does financial aid look like? All these different things. And a lot of that I was able to do because I had a conversation with someone who went to that university for X amount of years. So it's definitely good to utilize the folks that are around you to help you. And then two, when you're applying to these institutions, how can you make your application now stand out, right? I always say to start early, do not procrastinate, do not wait till the last minute to put in that application. Make sure that you're highlighting and quantifying your achievements and your experiences, right? Whether that's through your extracurricular activities, were you a president of a club or an organization? Make sure to highlight that and also highlight your impact, right? If you did community service, don't just also list out those things, but also list out the things that you did to have an impact, whether it's to solve issues in people's lives or to have an impact in people's life. Quantify that data, quantify that information, and show the people, show the admission staff that, hey, I'm not just coming into this institution just to come here and play games, but I'm here to also make a difference on this campus, right? So you want to demonstrate impact. Then as you're also applying, you want to have letters of recognition recommendation, good letters of recommendation. Don't just hit up somebody and contact somebody who's only known you for 2 weeks. You need someone who can speak to your character, someone who can speak to your work ethic, someone who can speak to your knowledge and your impact, right? Like I just mentioned, your impact. You want people who can attest to these factors about you, right? A lot of these admission counselors are looking for people who can stand out, who can make a difference, not only at the institution, but years and years later. A lot of universities have a page where it's like, look at our alumni from 10 years ago and the impact that they're making. Not saying that you have to be on that page, but I'm just saying that if you want to stand out, you want to make sure that you have people who are able to attest for you. And I think Philip, he said it before, like seek out people, right? Don't just suffer alone, but there are people, whether it's mentors, teachers, professors, etc., who can look over your application, ask for their help. A lot of us have went through this process before, so it's really good to lean on the people who have done this before you, ask for their feedback when it comes to looking at your resume, looking at your application so that they can provide insights and also point out things in your application that you may not have seen to help you succeed in that role. So those are my pieces of advice. I know it's long-winded, but like I said, I'm able to share all of my notes as well too. So thank you. Oh, I think you're on mute. I can't hear you. It says you're off mute, but like you're talking, but yeah, there's no words coming, no sound coming out.
Hello, can you hear me? Oh, okay. I think my other mic died. Okay. So I was saying thank you very much, Ayo. As someone who has gone through the study abroad application process myself, it's really stressful. You need to mentally prepare yourself before you start. So everything, I completely agree with everything you've said. You need to be able to get right recommendations. You need to be able to plan ahead, which is why a lot of schools say you need to have passion projects before you apply to university. So investing in clubs and extracurriculars are really important also. Constructing good essays, as you said, everything, and having a good support system, because it can be really daunting if you get rejected from a school that you were looking towards getting. But you need to be able to show the school that you would make a difference while on campus, and you being a student isn't just you getting A's or getting B's or just having your grades. It's way beyond that. Being able to have a good pathway while in school and being able to make an impact is also a huge part. So thank you very, very much, Ayo. Thanks for speaking. Okay, so the next question I'm going to be moving on, I'm going to be asking Amelia, what resources are available to international students when studying abroad to help them transition smoothly into university and the workforce? And what strategies are in place to help you while you're in school? And what activities can students take part in to stay properly engaged while in university?
Yeah, this is also a really, really great question and a big question. I can't really speak. I can only really speak to my experiences, but I think generally speaking, any university that you are studying abroad at will have some kind of office that you're working through. They'll be the ones that help facilitate your visa process. And generally that, in my experience, studying abroad, those have been the people that have been the best at helping me connect with additional resources while living internationally, just because they kind of facilitate that process for so many people. Kind of one of the biggest challenges and also one of the greatest joys of studying internationally is that you're in a totally different context. And that can be pretty isolating sometimes, I think, for most people at some point in a study abroad journey, run into feeling very lonely. And I think kind of similar to my previous answer, when you start to be really in that, it can be best to try to reach out to the folks who are in either the international office or groups on campus that have some kind of connection to your home country, to kind of connect with other people who may be going through the same thing. In addition to that, I think one of the best ways to help you get kind of acclimatized to excuse me, your like new place is to just really try as hard as you can to put yourself out there, to join new clubs, to focus on a good balance between meeting people who come from the same cultural background as you to help you feel kind of less alienated in a new place, and to feel connected and grounded in who you are and where you're from, and to really push yourself to meet people from a different background, from a different place in the world, because that's really the true benefit of studying internationally, is the cross-cultural kind of exchange that you're exposed to by having friends from different countries. I would say that that's kind of the biggest piece of advice I would offer living internationally. And then, yeah, to just be really mindful of each university, each college is different about what resources are offered, but kind of like the last speaker was saying, try to really do your research about which place you're going to and what they have available for international students there, what kind of resources are available through their international office, what kind of resources are available as far as like peer mentorship or faculty mentorship, because those things are really going to help you build a support system for yourself while you're abroad.
Thanks very much. Thank you very much, Amelia. While you were speaking about building a community, so if you're an African student who wants to study abroad, there are a lot of ASA communities on campus. So that's an African Student Association. Or even if you're like a Nigerian, because I know that in a lot of universities now, there are a lot of NSAs on campus. There are also a lot of international communities. So if you want to build a community while on campus and you feel lonely, ask your international students advisor or your program advisor if there are any clubs that international students can be a part of. Most schools will generally offer that to students before they join campus so that they have a community. So there's usually a transition before you get to the country you're planning on studying in, just so that you have a community that is going to welcome you. So always ask questions also. So yeah, thanks very much, Amelia. The next question I'll be moving on to is for Sankepo. I don't know if she's online now. If you are, can you just say hi? I don't know if she's here. Okay. I don't know if Sankepo is here. I don't know. Okay, if she's not here, then I'll move on to Philip. Okay, so what are some common misconceptions of myths that African youth may have about university life? And how can these misconceptions be addressed to facilitate a smoother transition? And in what ways can African youth begin preparing academically for the rigor of university coursework, particularly in subjects or disciplines they may be less familiar with? Okay, Philip, the floor is up to you.
Yes, and thank you again for this question. So before this session, I had conversations with some of my friends to actually ask them about their own experience when it comes to misconception. And one of the things that came out the most is the aspect of useless programs, you get. So for quite often, we realize that for most Africans, they are like, this program is useless. This program, what are some of the job opportunities you get? And they tend to actually do certain programs they are not keen on inherently, certain programs they actually don't like. But for the purpose of outward success, they tend to opt in for those programs. You get, like I said initially, for me, I wanted to do law, not necessarily because not necessarily because I really wanted to do it, but because I was conditioned. You get, the environment conditioned me to actually do law. You get, so first off, there are no as in useless programs or so. You get, so the most important thing is for you to have to a very large extent a high level of self-awareness to know the things you're keen on. And I will quote directly what one of them said. She said, the best degree for you is the degree you feel excited to do and have a natural inclination towards. So in essence, it's within you, it's internal. You get, first off, just know what you want. You get, just know what you want. And so the bottom line is, there is no useless program, there is no useless degree. And for quite often, if you are into social sciences, humanities, all the arts thing, they're like, for you, there is no future in quotes. But that is not true, by the way. You get. And the second aspect is scholarship opportunities or admission opportunities are only for high performing students. That is also not entirely true, you get. And I'll share my story as well. Quite recently, I think it was in December, I completed my second undergraduate at the African Leadership University. And of course, I'm keen on good grades, by the way, guys. I'm keen on good grades. I love good grades. But again, I know it is not the only way. I was actively involved in extracurricular activities, be it student politics, of course, I served as the secretary for the students' government, be it I served as the public relations officer for the Global Challenges Students Association. I served as the secretary general for the Fellows of Conservation Club, and a whole lots of leadership positions, you get. And at the end of it all, it's paid significantly. By December 2023, I had almost 5 or 6 admissions, which to some extent good scholarship offers. You get, I got one from the Central European University in Austria. I got one from, of course, Oxford. I got Oxford. I got one from the University of Cape Town, and I also got one from Stellenbosch University. So I won't say my grades are the best of best now. I know there are students, of course, in my class that actually have good grades more than I do, you get. But again, extracurricular activities play a significant role, community involvement, community volunteering initiatives, and the rest. So the misconception that scholarship and admission opportunities are only for high-performing students now, that is not so. Just try as best as possible to be impactful, like the previous speaker said, or one of the previous speakers said, the aspect of you being impactful, impact your community, impact others around you and the rest. And yeah, another misconception is with regards to clubs and societies. When I was doing my first undergraduate at Fwabe College, University of Sierra Leone, my grandma was like, nah, don't join clubs and societies. They'll just waste your time, this, that, blah, 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 blah. And during my first semester, I tried not to join at all. But as time progressed, I joined a couple of clubs and societies on campus, and it was good. It was very, very good. You get, that's where, to some extent, I developed my public speaking skills because I was a member of the debating council. I also participated in student politics and the rest. And ideally, as of now, most of my very good friends, they are from the clubs and societies I participated in. That is not to say all clubs and societies are good. That is not to say all clubs and societies can actually save you more time. No, just be intentional about the initiatives or institutions you intend to join on campus, you get. So if you say all clubs and societies on campus are time wasting, it's not entirely true, you get. Feel free, explore. And with regards to preparing for higher learning, education, or what have you, I would say start early. Start early in a situation wherein you know you want to do maybe maybe sociology, maybe history, and you do actually have the background in it. So that's best as possible to reach out to a student, a history student, anthropology student, sociology student, or whatever. Let's say your senior. Reach out and ask. You get, maybe what are some of the foundational courses or foundational things you actually need to know as a student for that particular program or that particular department, and you just start from there. You get, be proactive. There is no better time to do it than now. You get, so for misconception, first, there is no useless program. Second, good grades alone are not enough. And third, clubs and societies are not there to waste your time. And with regards to you preparing for higher learning opportunities, also try as best as possible to start early. Reach out to friends, reach out to colleagues. And of course, Google is here. You get the foundational things that you need to know to actually keep you going. Ensure you know them before you start. So that's it on my end. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Philip. I think one thing that particularly struck me was when you spoke about being able to do clubs and societies on campus, how you spent your first year not really doing anything. I'll quickly share a story about a friend of mine, a colleague, a work friend of mine. So she was telling me she went to a Nigerian university, by the way. So her parents had the mindset that you must just come out with the first class. Don't do anything. You must go straight to classes. When you're leaving classes, immediately you must go and read, you must go and study. But with the way the world is transitioning, we're beginning to realize that that's not the future of education, being able to do clubs and societies definitely open you up to more opportunities, because through that you begin to network with other people. You begin to learn through other people from things you may not have thought you would learn from. Even sometimes education goes beyond just studying and getting A's or getting a first class or a second or a 2-1 or anything like that. So yeah, I completely agree with you. Before we move on, I would just like, if anyone has any questions, I'd appreciate if you could just type it in the chat room before we move on to the next speaker. So very quickly, if you have any questions, so that you don't forget before the conversation is over, you can just leave a question in the chat room. Okay, so I will be monitoring the chat room just in case, but as we move on, I'll be calling on Yvonne. So my question for Yvonne is, what are some of the common skills employers seek when looking for people to join their teams? And what effective strategies or resources that are out there for high school students, university students, and African youth? And how can they utilize them to develop essential skills sought after by employers? And can you recommend specific online platforms, courses, or programs that students and African youth can access to enhance their skills and prepare for future career opportunities?
Thank you so much. Look, getting into a workplace is quite difficult also, just stepping out of university, trying to maneuver around it and, finding your feet as well. So I will start with number one, which is the skills, right? So I think for me, throughout my career, really, first and foremost, communication. So you can be the best student in university, you can be an A+ student in university, but when it comes to workplace, communications is the first skill that we look for. I mean, when you come to interview to start work, you have to present yourself, you have to sell yourself, you have to tell us about yourself. So that's part of communication. And that's the most important thing. Secondly, I will say your work ethics, right? Really, work ethic is just a system of your moral principles. Are you an honest person? Are you reliable, disciplined? Those principles are quite important when you step into the workplace, because this is things that you will be living. It's the way of life. It's how you live, your values. So your communication, your work ethics, teamwork is very, very crucial, because you can communicate as much as you want, but if you're not a team player, you're not able to collaborate with other people, it makes it very difficult for you to transition to your position. Because remember, you're going to have people that will help you become who you want to be in the workplace, and you will be learning throughout as well. So teamwork is very important. Learn to adapt. Remember that from university, now the workplace, there's 8 to 5, there's rules, there's there's a lot going on in the workplace, different people, and how we do things. So adapting makes it easy for you to transition, and and all of this really will build you to be a good leader, because leadership skills are needed, and unfortunately not most of us are born with it, and all of this will build up to that. And showing that leadership skills are there as well, it's a good thing. Look, you can have the best qualifications, but if you don't have the right attitude, the willingness, the keenness, it makes it so difficult for you to fit into the workplace culture. So those are just my few tips that we always look for in new students or undergrads or whoever is looking for a job. And strategy of how you can actually be able to step into the workplace. I remember back in the days when I started my career, we used to do quite a lot of career days at universities. So what we normally do is we go to universities, we introduce ourselves as employers, and students come to our spots and ask us about what we do. We explain to them what we're looking for, the type of careers that they can follow. So when you are in university, it's very important to attend those career days. They will help you a lot. You will have networked with us at that point. networking is very important. So you'll be networking with us at that point. We will also be able to keep in your database so that at least you know you are on second year or you are on your third year. We kind of like keep tab because every year we are there. We go to different university. So network is quite very important when we are there. When you see us, don't just say, you know, it's another career day, I'm not going there. I know when you are in high school, you do go to career days. There's lots of pamphlets, lots of information. But at that point at university, that's when you actually want to tap into it. And mentorship, really, it's very important because that's where they're gonna, you know, help you, hold your hand, introduce you to the workplace. Find someone that you always look up to in a space that you want to be. If you want to be a nurse, find someone that you look up to, and when you are on your holidays, go and visit them, shadow them. That will help you a lot to understand if actually that's what you want to do. And you know, they will guide you throughout, even if you are still at university. Go Google non-organizational organizations that help, you know, and volunteer there, because then you're gaining this knowledge of communication, of leadership, of teamwork, and so forth. So those are my very, very crucial, important things. Very simple. If you follow them, I promise you, your life at the workplace will be much easier. So there's quite a lot of platforms that, you know, you can always apply if you want a job. Even if you don't want a job, in actual fact, what happens is that you go to, I will just list 5 of them because there's quite a lot, and sometimes it gets misleading. Sometimes you need to verify, sometimes you need to make sure if really this is trustworthy, because you are putting your information out there. So one platform that I really trust is LinkedIn. Register yourself on LinkedIn, put your details there, and update them every year. Trust me, as recruiters as well, we search for you. Sometimes you don't have to search for jobs. We search for you. We look for people that can, you know, be able to volunteer somewhere, or be in an internship program or a learnership program. So LinkedIn is #1 platform. I will definitely send you all these details later on. PNET is second. It's quite global as well. African Jobs is quite, you know, reliable and global. BetterDim is also one of the best websites that I can recommend that we actually register our CVs at. And in terms of ongoing learning of, you know, courses, there's a vast of courses that you can take, and these are free courses. LinkedIn Learning, it even has an app. You can download their app. You know, you can take courses like customer service. Those will teach you communication. It's for free. You can take classes like from art, IT, you know, business management, from Udemy as well. I see that quite a lot of, you know, those courses are free at Udemy, and some are paid for, but they are quite good courses, and quite reasonable in terms of price as well. Harvard University also have quite a lot of free, and some are paid. And when I say paid, it's quite reasonable price. You know, you pay for like $200 at the most, 100 Rand at the most. And there's also an app called Specon. It's an LMS app. I think it's about 99 Rand a month. It's got like 1,000 different courses. I personally use it for my employees that I knew that are under the leadership, internship programs. They literally have courses from, you know, driving courses to get your learner, to courses like how to become a trainer type of courses. So there's a lot that you can just take, and they don't take long, honestly. It's like 30 minutes. There's a little bit of quiz after that to just test your knowledge. An hour, you take them at your own time. That's the most exciting part about it, that you don't have to wonder how you juggle the two. During your school holidays, these are the kind of website you can visit and register yourself and get to do these courses. They take about 2 days a day, and you get to actually, you know, sharpen other skills besides being a student. So I will definitely list all these programs and share with everyone. And I can attest to them that actually they are quite reliable as well and safe for yourself to put your information there, because I mean, social media is quite big. We don't know what is actually, right or wrong. So these, I personally use them. I know a lot of people that are using them. So it's easy for you to use them, and they're quite also user friendly. So they're not very complicated. I hope it answers your questions.
Yes.
Did I leave anything?
Yeah, I actually have one more suggestion for an online class or online platform that students can use. Another good one is Coursera. I don't know if you've heard of Coursera.
Yes, definitely. I agree, 100%.
Yes. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I completely agree with everything you've said so far. Another
Yes.
piece of advice I would like to give students or people who want to even get internships or find jobs is you can package yourself as an interview, right? But what will keep you is your body language and your attitude towards the job. So you could decide you want to show yourself as the best person while you're at an interview, but what will keep you is your communication, how effective you are, your time management skills. So a lot of these skills you can learn them, but these are also skills that are very practical. So even as you do all
Yes.
the online courses to try to develop yourself, also try to evaluate yourself every once in a while. Ask people who are close to you, who will tell you the truth. How do I fare when it comes to this? For example, do I get angry easily? Am I a patient person? How am I when it comes to listening to people, communicating with people? So this would help you keep jobs. And yeah, so thank you very much. I've
Yeah,
enjoyed this conversation. But
thank you.
thank you very much. I heard Sankepo is back, so I would call on her to be able to answer her question now. Okay, so Sankepo's question is, how important is it for African youth to engage in academic enrichment activities, such as advanced placement courses or independent research projects, to enhance their readiness for university level studies? And in what ways can they begin, especially if they are not used to research level work?
Hi everyone. Thank you so much for taking the time to join this webinar today. Thank you for all the speakers who've already spoken. Yeah, so to answer that question, it is very important for any person who wants to go to university to seek opportunities to get into like advanced placement courses, or like have any research opportunity or research projects. It is very important. I went to a college, a high school, like a secondary school in Zambia, that never really focused on telling us about how important research is. And so I feel like I missed out on so many opportunities because I wasn't like really prepared for the rigorous academics that come with like being in college, because the level of academics is like very different from high school. Like you're on a like kind of like a higher level. You need like critical thinking, problem solving, analytical skills, like that kind of stuff. That's not really emphasized in secondary school. So I would say take advantage of any opportunity that comes, like join clubs such as, for example, my school had like a JETS club, which was like Junior Engineers, Technology and Science Club. I think that's the only like kind of like research based class that was offered at my school. But it is very important for, if especially you want to go to college, it's important for like your application. So many schools now, not only the diaspora, but I think also in Africa, are looking for like your academic aptitude. Like it also helps you in exploring like what you are interested in. When you go into college, you're going to need to have like kind of like an interest, like a research focus on that, what you really like. It will help you just explore and help you know what you really like, what area you want to study. If it's like in the sciences, like what exactly social sciences or academics or anything like that. So also again, helping you building your research skills. Research, it's quite involving, which you wouldn't know just from secondary school if you haven't taken any of the, like research courses or AP classes or that kind of stuff. I do kind of like catch you by surprise of how involving it is, how much you need to put into the work. Like when you go to when you go to college, like it involves literature reviews, like analyzing data, research questions, and that, like communicating your findings. It also helps you like in being a good communicator, being able to engage with your audience, which again, you really need for college. So yeah, it helps you also in like just giving you the opportunity to engage with college level material, which will help your transition to university quite smooth while you're still in high school. At least you'll get the exposure that you need for helping you with the transition. And I know, like myself, I never really had any research background before I went to college. So like if any one of you on this call is like me, who's accustomed to any research level work, I think start small and gradually build on what you have. Definitely 100% seek guidance. I cannot emphasize how important it is to have like a mentor, an academic advisor, or anything like that. It can even be maybe from your family members or like people like your peers or any teacher. Like just seek guidance and seek support. Ask when you need, like when you have a question, or even if like they don't offer such at your school, you can start short. You can take like even your courses or your subjects, like anything like mathematics, biology, for example, physics or chemistry. You can kind of build your research experience from like just your classes, your projects, your assignments. Take them seriously and try to take like the extra step. Especially for those schools that don't have like the research or the AP courses, because not all the schools in Africa have AP courses. My school did not have an AP course. So yeah, you can like with your research, like with your assignments or your projects or your homework, you can turn that into a research project. Like take the extra step and just go and dive a little deeper with like the work. If maybe your homework is, I don't know, like maybe like photosynthesis, like just do not answer the question, like go one step deeper. I mean, many of you may or may not have like access to the internet, but you can go to the library.
Sorry, could you please mute yourself, Kumu? Sorry.
Take advantage of like resources, libraries, the people around you to conduct like your research, and join clubs and organizations. It can be like a science club or even like a debate club, anything. Just don't stay in your shell. Always come out of your comfort zone and just attend attending this webinar is actually even like a very nice first step. But like any webinars or seminars that have been offered to you, just attend as many as you can, but also just remember that you are human and you can't like be involved in everything. But it's also a way just to know what you're interested in, and it will help you like know what to apply for when you're applying to like college. Because when applying to college, you're applying to a specific like a specific course of study, like a major, so it helps you just keep track. It helps you like stay in line. So you need to really have the research experience, but it's okay if you don't have it right now. You can start right now by just seeking support and guidance and just asking questions, just exploring the many opportunities that you have. Just also embrace the challenges that come with navigating the new environment, with navigating the new level of course load and coursework. And just start planning ahead. Plan, like right now is the time to plan, explore your options. Research is not only like scientific. Research can be like on any level. It can be, like in the humanities. It can be like in the languages, like anything. So don't be closed-minded. Just keep your options open and just seek as much support and guidance as you need, and believe in yourself. You can do it. It can be intimidating at first to think, oh my goodness, I'm going to get involved in research, but just believe in yourself, because definitely you can do it. I mean, I think your hard work has brought you to where you are right now, and determination. So just keep up, but do seek the research opportunities. It's definitely very important, but don't feel bad if you don't have any research experience yet, because I was there as well. I had zero research experience going into college. I wish I had a webinar like this to help me understand the importance of having research. So just go out there, get involved, seek support, seek guidance, mentorship, and take advantage of like your resources at your school, libraries, or even like just the internet. And like going back to what the previous speaker was talking about, online courses. Even YouTube is a great resource and it's very free, and there's so many courses you can take on YouTube if you have the time and of course like the data. But yeah, just get out there and get involved.
Thank you very, very much, Sankifo. To add on to what you said, I think another thing that, I don't know if there are any educators on here today or any teachers, but another thing that I would advise schools to do is to incorporate practical classes into the school curriculum. So basically, what that means is that if, for example, the class would have been, oh, 2 + 2 is 4, go outside and look for practical ways that 2 + 2 can be 4. So this will help engage students into wanting to be more intuitive and to be more, ask more questions, basically. So they'll want to ask more questions, want to do more research. So through presentations also, that's a good way of starting out with research. So technology is one of the biggest steps in researching because technology is in everything nowadays. So yeah, thank you very much. I completely agree. Now I'll be moving on to Esther. So my question for Esther is, how can students overcome common obstacles, such as lack of access to resources or guidance? Many African students face disparities in access to educational resources and guidance. Could you delve deeper into strategies or initiatives aimed at bridging these gaps and ensuring equitable access to information and support throughout? Oh, I'm sorry, I'm reading the wrong question. Okay, how can students make more informed decisions about their careers and future aspirations? Many African students face disparities in access to educational resources and career guidance. Could you delve deeper into strategies or initiatives aimed at bridging these gaps and ensuring equitable access to information and support throughout career development? Esther, I don't know, are you here? Esther still on the call? Okay, if Esther is not here, then I'll move on to Mampoliki and hopefully she can join us before we round up for today. Okay, so my question is, how early is too, okay, sorry, I can't see, okay. I can't see the question, please. For Mampoliki, I don't think Esther is here.
Okay, hi. Sorry, I got thrown out by my network.
Okay.
Yeah, please could you come up with the question again?
Okay, could you share the
Yeah.
screen, please? Okay. How can students make more informed decisions about their careers and future aspirations? Many African students face disparities in access to educational resources and career guidance. Could you delve deeper into strategies or initiatives aimed at bridging these gaps and ensuring equitable access to information and support throughout career development?
Okay, thank you so much. So I think I'll start by saying, first off, students may Google your friend, because there's lots of resources there. I think it's like the first primary guide, that helps guide you throughout your career choices and all of that. And then I'd like to say that as students, right, going into the university, we always talk about passion, follow your passion. But one thing that I've actually come to observe over time is your passion actually can change. What you were passionate about 5 years ago is not what you might be passionate about in the next 10 years or now. So when your passion changes, what's next? What's next? So I feel like as students, you should actually look for a problem, right, in your society, in your community. Look for a problem to solve and make that your career, and then you make that problem your passion. So what I'd say is seek to solve problem before putting your seeking to solve problems should come before your passion, and then make solving that problem your passion. Because the truth is, if we actually want to if we actually want to thrive in the job market, because the truth is, going to school, the end goal is to graduate from school, get jobs, become more relevant. You must actually look at, okay, what can I do to be relevant even after the university. So that's one thing I'd like to say. And another thing I'd say is, like, almost everyone here has said it, mentorship. Mentorship cannot be overemphasized, because mentorship is more like having a guide who has walked through the path that you are seeking to walk through. Hold your hands and walk you through that same path. Now, when you have that kind of guidance, you would find out that you wouldn't make mistakes, because your mentor have made their own mistakes. So you learn from their own mistakes, and it makes your career journey very smooth. So and I think the question will be, okay, so how do I identify mentors? How do I get mentors? Because it might not be so easy getting access to people that are way up there in their careers already. LinkedIn is one very great place. LinkedIn is awesome. I've connected with people that normally I wouldn't connect with, via LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a professional platform where everyone is actually seen like as equal. On Instagram, you might send a top professional a DM, they wouldn't respond because it's a social network or platform. But LinkedIn is a professional platform. When you send messages, you see lots of them respond to you. Ask questions. That's one thing. I want to encourage every student here, Africans particularly, ask questions. Ask questions and listen more than you speak, because the truth is, when you ask questions, you definitely get the right guide. And delving into the other aspect of initiatives. So I'd like to talk about there's an initiative called 8,000 hours. So 8,000 hours is under Effective Altruism. Effective Altruism is an organization registered in the UK and US. But one thing about them is they actually help everyone from across the world. So there's Effective Altruism for like every country chapters. And one thing it does is connect you with professionals who are advanced. You are on the same space, you can ask questions. And one thing 8,000 hours does is basically it's assumed that every individual has 8,000 hours of work in their lifetime. Now, what are you going to do with that 8,000 hours? How are you going to spend it? And it's very important that 8,000 hours is used effectively. So 8,000 hours actually, they offer career advisory. Like there are one-on-one calls. They actually offer career advisory. They also have resources on their website, podcasts too, that helps you, navigate, because the truth is making a good career choice is key to having a successful career. So if you don't make the right choice, then that could be like the beginning of your problems, because you as you progress, you get to a point of inflection where you are confused. But if you make the right choice from the beginning, then your journey actually becomes kind of seamless. So 8,000 hours is a great resource. I would recommend to everyone here. You can check it out on Google. And I'd say, like I reiterate, like I said before, make Google your friend. Really, I cannot come and list all the platforms here, but make Google your friends. There are lots of mentorship platforms out there. There's iMentorship. There's lots of mentorships platform out there, but you need to look out for it. And the truth is, at this phase, transitioning from secondary school to university, you must understand that all the resources you need will not come to you on a platter. You have to seek them, you have to look out for them. So yes, thank you.
Wow, thank you very much, Esther. The last thing you said is you have to seek out opportunities. So as a student, sometimes you have to go the extra mile in order to be able to get to where you want to get to, because no one can actually motivate you. You can motivate yourself. So you know what your end goal is. So being able to push yourself and motivate yourself, but then getting support from other people would also make a difference. So thank you very, very much, Esther. So last but not least, okay, actually, no, we have 2 more speakers before we round up, then we'll move on to the question and answer session. So my next question is from Mompoloki Makwana. Okay, so how early is too early when it comes to gaining work experience for students? What strategies can high school and university students adopt to begin networking and building professional relationships and other experiential learning opportunities for gaining valuable skills and insights into the world of work? Okay.
All right. Good evening. Thank you so much for that question. It's never early. It's never early to acquire and to connect with other people. As I've said earlier on, that the important aspect is that people introduce you to unlimited opportunities. So you must be in a position where you are able to network, where you are able to share the value you possess. Fortunately, I am a career coach as well. I work with professionals, individuals, graduates who are positioning themselves for jobs. And one of the things that I normally say is that alignment is very, very important. I think if you are taking any notes, you can write down alignment. The alignment with where are you going as a student? What do you want to become? Where do you want to serve? And with the work, any course you are working on, where are you moving into? And the ability to have that question earlier on is important because it aligns you with what are available opportunities are there within my city, my town, or the village where I am going to school, so that you are able to go beyond you can connect beyond this Zoom meeting. Oh, okay, they were talking about network. I was reading your comment there. So it's very, very important that you are able to have that focus first. Normally, I can call it a vision board. Every person must have a vision board. This is where I'm going. This is what I want to do. I'll give my personal story. I wanted to be on radio. I wanted to be on TV. I wanted to write content for magazine. So having that earlier on in advance of the writing skill, the speaking skill. So now I was looking among my city, what is available? I started realizing that, oh, there is no even event within the school or university, even high school, I did the same. That is helping people to bridge from high school to university and from university into the job market. So I started creating in partnership with the university where I was at a job readiness sort of conference and networking session where I will bring employers to our school and they start to talk to them about the expectations in the job market. So it was very, very important that to be able to create that road. It was not just only just about an event where you are just going to attend an event and that's the end of the day. I was foreseeing myself as an event host in the future. I was foreseeing myself as someone who's going to bring business people together to network. And even when I went to Finland and now going into the aspect of entrepreneurship, although I was studying there on an exchange program for 6 months, I was able to leverage on the opportunities that are available within the Karalea University of Applied Sciences. And one of them was the Joensuu Entrepreneurship Society, because I was intentional and I was aware, you know, that from college, what I want to do, I want to move into running my own business and enterprise. So I would go to the entrepreneurship networking sessions, and they were free. You just get there, you grab a cup of coffee, and people are pitching about ideas that you can implement. That was in 2015. Ideas you can implement after you finish school. So it was a networking opportunity that I leveraged while I was still in school. I remember by then I pitched an idea to say, you know, let's say you are working 9 to 5, you are coming from work, you are tired, we can buy grocery for you and drop it at your doorstep. We can buy anything you need. You go into an app. And actually, they wanted now me to implement the business idea by then. And because I was an exchange student, I couldn't do that. But you can see that the opportunity is available. There are vast opportunities available. The question is, on your own, where do you want to move into? What are your aspirations? What do you really want to achieve? I think number 2 is about the element of value contribution. You know, networking is not a one-sided element where you are there folding your arms and you want to join into people who are movers and shakers and making a difference. Movers and shakers are also looking for movers and shakers. Therefore, it's very important to say, what contribution are you making today that affords you a space in people's network, that affords you a seat on the table for people who are developing, people who are growing, you must have something you are offering. If they are struggling with something, you must for sure you have a confidence. Maybe you can impact them on confidence. I normally say expect, teach, expect, teach. It's very, very important now you are able to say, what can I offer that maybe other people don't have? And one of the things earlier on, to create a roller coaster for me in the path of networking was to write for the university magazine where I was contributing on content regarding personal development. And I used the platform to share my skill set. I used the platform to share what I knew. Now, even when people come to me, they are not clueless about what I'm about. They are not clueless about what I can offer. They've seen a piece of my writing. They've seen my speech. They've seen my artwork. Therefore, now it's easy to collaborate and being able to create that vibrant network around that. And so the other aspect of leveraging on networking and building it beyond just the school is a very important topic that my wife, and also she's a lecturer in science and technology university, she teaches a lot about her students, is that they must learn cultural intelligence. They must learn cultural intelligence. Your ability to connect and lead and work with people who are different than you. This may be race, this may be cultural backgrounds, this may be educational level, this may be how we do things. Your ability to collaborate is important. And one famous statement she likes to say is that globalization is our friend, it's not our enemy. We can leverage on the different aspects that other people may know that we don't know. Therefore, it's very, very important that we are able to leverage and understand different people. So that really helps us to know even how to serve, to know even how to connect, to know even how to thrive. When you are thrown in an environment that is not Nigeria, that is not Botswana, that is not South Africa, that is not the US, are you able to connect with people who are not similar to you? So it's very, very, very important that when we start doing that, you realize that the opportunities are not limited only to one place. Opportunities are not limited to a certain group of people. Now you can leverage on diverse backgrounds. I think I have a lot to share here, but let me take the last one, is that be in touch with what is happening in the world outside your school gates. You are not living in an island that is separated from the whole world, like in Mars. No, you are living in an interconnected world, and therefore your ability to know what's happening around you is important to know how you can position yourself differently. My entrepreneurial journey transformed when I started realizing that people in my agricultural economics course, the only person that was hired after 4 years that we knew was one person. And I said, I need to start making changes. So I started moving into media. I started moving into, content creation. I started moving into magazine, which is now what I lead, the magazine business. We host big events. The Employee Africa Summit is our event in partnership with my wife. So you can see that the world is always sharing with you some highlights, or I can say some insights on how you can position yourself differently. So it's for you to be able to pay attention to that, and then you are leveraging on the network of people that you have access to. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much. A particular thing I picked from what you were speaking about was people will always want to connect with you when you have something to offer. So as you transition through the career world, the educational stream of things, you need to be able to have skills for people to be able to work with you. So no one wants to really work with someone who cannot benefit them in a certain way. So for example, if you wanted me to work on a project with you, what skills do you have that I may not have that can help us to work together seamlessly? So things like that. So thank you very much. I've really enjoyed listening to you and everyone else. So the last but not least question is for Kwabena, and I hope Kwabena is online, but the question is, transitioning from high school to university life can be a significant adjustment for many students. Drawing from your own experiences as a university student, what advice would you offer to African youth as they prepare for this transition? And what are some key factors to consider in adapting to the academic and social dynamics of university life? And then the next part of the question is, balancing academic commitments, extracurricular activities, and personal well-being is often a challenge for university students. Can you share personal insights or strategies for managing these competing demands effectively while maintaining a healthy work-life balance? Okay, Kwabena.
Okay, thank you very much. I think me myself, I'm learning a lot from the amazing speakers than any one of you. Just that. Okay, so one thing I would say is that I want to define education in my own ways. So education, as you are trying to embark on your education, university education is just gaining a skill and using that skill to solve a problem. In this case, in Africa, right? I'm a little bit biased, but we have a lot of problems to deal with. So as a student, when you are going to school or you are going to uni, what I will tell you is that you can do both. Someone will be like, as some of the speakers share their experience, that some people will be like, when you go to school, just stay with your books. It's a lie. Because, no one is an island and the world is connected. So you have to engage. You can do both. I know some people in school, they are academically good and they are everywhere in terms of extra activity. So I'll tell you that just cut off some time for football debates, partying, just cut that time off and use it to do both the academics and the extra activities. Secondly, continuous learning, right? So, there's a lot coming up. This AI, how many AI do you know? How are you making good use of it? And recently I shared with my colleagues, I'm using AI to make money. So I was sharing with them and I was like, what are you using AI for? So continuous learn, our education, especially our traditional education, before you start school and before you finish, it become a cake, what you have been taught. Honestly, it become a cake. So you have to be constantly learn, self-learn.
Hello, I just want to confirm, is Kwabena still on? I don't know if anyone can hear me. Hello?
So, there's a lot coming up. This AI, how many AI do you know? How are you making good use of it? And recently I shared with my colleagues, I'm using AI to make money. So I was sharing with them and I was like, what are you using AI for? So continuous learn, our education, especially our traditional education, before you start school and before you finish, it become a cake, what you have been taught. Honestly, it become a cake. So you have to be constantly learn, self-learn. I think that's the best. So you have to constantly learn. And also, you have to also volunteer. So the thing is, learning from this Udemy, Coursera, LinkedIn Learning, someone may ask, how can I practically it? So I'll tell you that any company, maybe even your mom is selling porridge. You have learned data analytics. Your mom is selling porridge. So you can keep track of your mom's daily sales and do some analysis on it. That's you are applying what you have learned from this Coursera and those stuff. Don't always wait for a big or giant Microsoft before. Hello, am I audible?
Yeah.
Hello,
Yes, you are.
audible?
You're audible.
Okay, sure. Don't wait for a big corporation before you say that you apply what you have learned. And also solve a problem. I feel like Africa has a lot of problems to be solved. And that's why I don't like preaching that much about career development or career. Why? Because if you look at the people that are graduating from school, they are plenty and not everyone can be employed. We have to tell ourselves that we know that not everyone can be employed. So we have to talk much about entrepreneurship. So find a problem. Wherever there is a problem, you are saying that there's a lot of lighthouse. what you are complaining about Africa, you have been born to solve that problem. So please solve it and stop complaining. Also leverage on LinkedIn. I think I met Joseph on LinkedIn, and it has been a great network. So leverage on LinkedIn. If you hear something new, connect with your lecturers. They are all there. Where you want to go, someone has been there, and you can find these people on LinkedIn. Also, read outside academics. Read books on financial literacy, personal development, and other stuffs. And also, I feel like some people study psychology, social science, and they think when they complete school, they want to do have a job with that qualification. I think that's not the right path. You can learn on a job, any job that you say. I'm not saying apply to any job, but don't let your certificate limited you because maybe you study. I know some people who are having psychology certificate, but they are IT gurus, right? So be willing to learn, even though maybe you don't have that degree, but that doesn't mean you can't do that job. And also, so I'm coming to the second part of the question, how you can balance these extra activity in schools and your academics. So you have to delegate. You know, when maybe you are in level 100, level 20, level 10, you get to when you network, you get to know some level 100, level 200 people. So delegate. Maybe I'm the founder of Tech for Everyone. We teach teachers AI and how they can implement AI in their educational system. And I'm not doing this alone. I'm doing with a team of other students. So leverage on, you can't do anything by yourself. I can't design, I can design flyer, but I can't do it because I have a lot of me. So delegate. This one is writing letters to the teachers. So delegate is massive because if you learn this skill, how to delegate, you know, look at Microsoft, look at Facebook. Is Mark Zuckerberg doing everything? No. He has an employee that he has delegates the team, the vision of the company into their hands. Okay, so also exercise regularly. You know, me, myself, personally, I exercise every morning. Yes, it helps you to burn some calories and be free. And I'll advise in the morning. And also, I'll recommend one book for you, Eat That Frog. It talk about prioritizing what is very important to you. And also, as I mentioned in the beginning, avoid destructive activities such as partying and other activities that's not helping you, because someone will be like, Eric, whatever you are saying, how can I balance them? Meanwhile, you are watching movie 2 hours. You spend like much of your time watching movie. Instead of you can forego that movie watching and you can use it to do these extracurricular activities. Lastly, it's not everyone that will get to the universities or get funding to go to the university. So I will talk to those who are not able to also fund themselves in the university, that now the internet is there. Whatever you want to learn, if you want to learn plumbing, if you want to learn coding, you are not limited, right? So if you continue to add value to yourself, regardless where you are, you can be successful. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Kwabena. Thank you very much. Sorry, I've gotten locked up for a second, but I got the message of what you were speaking about. So thank you. We're coming to the end of the conversation for today. So at this point in time, I'd like to thank everyone for joining. And I know I saw a bunch of questions in the comment section. So I would like if I could call on someone to answer to read out their question. I think I saw a question from Leandre. Would you like to read out your question? Hello, can anyone? Okay. All right, so I'm going to read out Leandre's question. So I am a bachelor student from University of Rwanda. As you said in your presentation, scholarships are for the most performers and for dominant students. But how does the issue of English proficiency be undermined, as many times it becomes an obstacle to those who are best performing, but they lack the chance of being fluent in English? Lastly, if possible, guide me on how I can access the MSc scholarship application related to animal production. My question goes to Philip Anderson Samura. Philip, would you like to answer the question?
And thank you, Leandre, for the question. And just to clarify, I didn't say scholarship are for those most performing, high-performing students and dominant students. I said scholarships are not only for high-performing students. There are lots of things that actually come into mind when you think of scholarship. For most scholarship opportunities, they are from, let's say, a holistic perspective, not necessarily good grades also. Extracurricular activities may as well come into play, maybe entrepreneurship and the rest. You get, so it depends. You get, so I even shared my experience with me being highly effective in my undergrad, joining a lots of student advocacy entities and contributing significantly. And by December, I had almost 6 admissions and very good scholarships, you get. And yes, so with regards to English proficiency, I do understand. Like I said initially when I responded to the first question, take it easy on yourself, be compassionate. English is not our mother tongue, it's not our first language. However, that does not necessarily mean that we should not learn it, because the world we're living today, if you want to communicate effectively, you must be able to at least understand English, right? Because in most places, English is the official language for communication. So what you may want to do is, in addition to you maybe reading, to you learning about English language, the most effective way to learn a new language is by speaking. So you may want to say, okay, during the day, you may want to speak English to your friend, your colleagues, maybe your teachers, or what have you. To the best of my knowledge, correct me if I'm wrong, English is the main language for communication at the University of Rwanda. So if that is so, for most schools, there is something they refer to as, is it an English language waiver, you get, especially for admission. So you may want to apply with the English language waiver because you are studying with English language and the rest. And with regards to validating your proficiency, if you think you're not too sure, you may want to write an English language proficiency examination, sorry. It could be the IELTS, maybe TOEFL, maybe SAT, maybe Duolingo. The list goes on. There are a number of English language examination you may want to take. But again, the examinations alone are not enough. If you think you are not too comfortable, you may want to try as best as possible to be speaking English maybe at home, on campus, or whenever you have the opportunity, you get. So that's it for English language proficiency. And like I said, take it easy on yourself, right? And with regards to guiding you for MSc scholarship opportunities, I think there is no way I could actually say it better than what Ayo said already, you get. But now, you just have to make the move. In addition to what she said, you just have to make the move. And what we've seen, or what I've experienced over the years, is young people like my very self, or even students, pushing for outward success. So outward success in this particular case entails you submitting your application to the school. But that's not it. It's about you having a thorough awareness of who you are, you understanding the course you actually want to study, the institution, the financial aid opportunities, and the maybe employment opportunities. But again, life after grad school, what would it look like for you? So there are lots of things that come into mind before submitting your application. So for me, when I was applying for grad school last year, what I did was I had something like a Google Sheet. I don't know if you know of Google Sheets or what have you, but I would assume you do. So I have a Google Sheet, and I listed almost 20 to 21 schools that I really wanted. to attend. And I knew listing the schools alone was not enough. So I also identified the programs that, okay, for this particular school, let's say if I'm going to Oxford, what exactly do I want to study? Biodiversity, MSc in Biodiversity, Conservation and Management. For Yale, I'm interested in forestry. So can I as well go to Yale School of Environment for your Master of Forestry? Okay, if I'm going to maybe Stanford, what exactly do I want to study? You get, so try as best as possible to identify the schools, the programs that you're interested in, and you look at the eligibility requirement. The eligibility requirement is very, very key. You understand, okay, for me to be admitted into this school, I need to, I don't know, maybe second class, upper, maybe first class, need to have a leadership experience, need to have a research experience, the list goes on, you get, and also try as best as possible to, okay, what's the duration? How long? Yet is it a 2 years program? Is it a 1 year program? You get all those boxes, just check, and have a link. You get, okay, if I'm applying to this school, I'll just click on this link, right? For more details. And also the deadline, application deadline, when is it due? You get, so for me, basically that's what I did. And I don't mind at all sharing my documents with you and almost everyone on this particular call, you get, but again, be mindful that our circumstances are different, you get, our circumstances or even context are different. You should take that into consideration. For me, I'm into climate change, environmental protection, and the rest. So for most of the schools or most of the programs I was looking forward to applying to last year were actually related to environmental protection, biodiversity conservation, and the rest. So I would actually share my documents with you and see how it goes. Start now. There is no better time to do that than now. And before applying, try as best as possible to do the internal work first. Yes, so that's it. I don't know if I've answered your question correctly, but that's it for now. If you need more clarity, you can as well ask.
Okay, thank you very much, Philip. Thank you. I can see another question. This is from Mark Appa. So it says, as someone who has dedicated years to memorizing formulas and theories without feeling a personal connection or meaningful gain, I am eager to transition to a path that aligns more with my passions and values. How can I begin to bridge the gap between what I've learned academically and finding a career or pursuit that genuinely resonates with me, allowing me to feel a sense of fulfillment and personal growth? So, who would like to answer that question? Any of our speakers like to answer? I don't know if Yvonne is still on the call.
I'm here.
Okay.
Sorry, can you repeat the question for me again, please?
Okay, so this is from Mark Appa, and it says, as someone who has dedicated years to memorizing formulas and theories without feeling a personal connection or meaningful gain, I am eager to transition to a path that aligns more with my passions and values. How can I begin to bridge this gap between what I have learned academically and find a career or pursuit that genuinely resonates with me, allowing me to feel a sense of fulfillment and personal growth?
Esther mentioned something very important to say that we must always try and find a solution to the problem. So for you to really align with your sense of fulfillment and personal growth, that's where it starts. It starts with you saying, what really makes me angry? Find a solution to what makes you angry now, socially, economically, and that's where your true fulfillment starts. However, in a normal circumstances where we live in different countries, we have different social problems, having to have academics always starts with, when you transition now to the career, it always starts with your internship programs, learnership programs, voluntary work. I don't know if other countries do have such programs, but in South Africa, we have a program called learnership or internship. It takes about 12 months. During that program, you get a stipend or a certain amount of salary, and you get to learn a lot in terms of the skills or the knowledge. So fulfillment is very different, and personal growth, once you get a job, you can always, grow personally, because a job and a work is two different things, right? You get a job actually to grow yourself in different ways, because you get a salary that sustain your life. You get to learn other channels if you want to. You get to not necessarily fulfill your passion, but finding your passion is sometimes not very easy. I think one of the speakers did mention sometimes we study something else and we end up doing something else, or you end up being good at something else. So being a learner, being a continuous learner, helps you actually to find that passion and helps you to fulfill your personal growth. I hope I've answered you. Perhaps someone can mention also if there is such programs that help people that, undergrads from university to transition to the workplace, in a sense that even if they don't have a skill, they still give them that opportunity. However, if you want more information, like, we can definitely take it out of this call, and then I'll try and send you more, depending on which area you're at. Because remember, sometimes I might know someone, if you're staying in Ghana, I might introduce you to someone in Ghana that can help you actually get, a career from that side. So yeah, I think that's it from my side. I hope it answered.
Thank you very much. There was a question before I can't see anymore because I got logged out. But the question was, I think it was directed to Mompoloki, and it was basically about how can we connect outside of this. So those in this conference Zoom, how can we connect more? So from my understanding, because I did say that we're going to share the social media links, but I think the person is trying to find out how do they personally reach out to people. So in what ways? So for example, if I was to send.
Sure, we lost you there. No.
Hello?
I think, yes,
can you hear
we
me?
can hear you. Yes.
Okay. I don't know if you heard the question I read, but I will say it again.
Kindly say it again. Towards the end, I didn't hear properly.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so yeah, the person was basically asking, how do they connect outside of the
We've lost you there.
Okay. Audio settings.
I think here you're moving away from your microphone.
Hello? Can you hear me?
We can now hear
Yes,
you.
we can hear you.
Okay,
Yes.
sorry, I think my mic must have died. So the person was basically asking, how do they connect outside of this Zoom conference call? So how do you reach out to people to connect with them? Like, what steps can they take to connect with people?
All right. Thank you. I think some people have already shared it here, especially LinkedIn is the more active right now. Even right now, we are hosting the summit. Most of the speakers across Africa that we are able to talk to is via LinkedIn. And people are open more. It's a professional environment, so they don't think of much of how people are. So using LinkedIn is a very, very effective tool that we can use to reach out to people. And also some they may be very active on Instagram, some they're using Facebook, but I do believe that LinkedIn is a very important connection where people can share information, they can connect and all that. And one of the things that I want to share is when you want to connect with people, especially LinkedIn or any other platform, please make sure that your platform is active. Make sure that your account is active. Even if you are still a learner, you're doing your first year, you are transitioning into high school, we can share something. As I'm transitioning into now to university, these are some of the things I'm thinking about. What are your thoughts? Those who are already in university, and people that are able to connect and start to share their experiences. And people are very generous and they are willing to share experiences. Have a good professional picture that you can use there that reflects you. Don't put a goat there, even if you love goats or whatever. Just put your professional picture that they can see that they are interacting with someone who is alive. So I think that is very, very important.
Okay, thank you very much. The last question I'll read is from Edward, and it says, can any of the speakers help with a link for PhD scholarship opportunities? A second master's philosophy students reading economics at the University of Cape Coast. Okay, so I think I can answer this question. So there's a website called Opportunities for Youth. There's also a website called Opportunities for Africans. So you can find scholarship opportunities there. Then there's also a website called JLV Scholarships. So they usually have scholarships for different countries, different categories. Some are for international students. So maybe if you're looking to get a PhD outside of your country, you could try there. There's also Scholarship OWL. And then I could also, I guess if you connect with me after this conversation, I could find more links for you so that you can find more places for you to find scholarships. So I don't know if anyone has any other questions. The same thing for undergraduate students, Farah. You can use those websites I have mentioned to be able to find scholarships. Okay, so are there any other questions? We would like to wrap up quickly so that everyone can enjoy the rest of their day. Any more questions? Okay, so I'm checking the chat room. Okay, so if there are no more questions, I would like to thank everyone for joining the conversation today. I hope everyone has been able to learn something new. I hope we've been able to grow from this webinar. We will definitely be, I'll share on the chat, but we'll definitely be posting some more webinars similar to this one to help empower students. So thank you once again. So I'd like to show how we can connect with each other outside of this Zoom meeting. Don't know if you could share the screen, Yalda. Okay, so you can follow Yalda International on the social media platforms. I will also put them in the chat room so that you can follow them. So you can follow Yalda Facebook at Yalda Africa. You can follow Yalda's Twitter at Yalda Africa also. Then you can follow Yalda on Instagram at Yalda Dumela. And then Yalda also has a WhatsApp and Telegram group that you can also follow. And then there's also a YouTube channel. Then for College Guide Africa, you can follow College Guide Africa's TikTok at College Guide Africa. You can follow College Guide on Twitter at CG Africa 1. You can also follow us on YouTube at College Guide Africa, and our LinkedIn name is also College Guide Africa. So on our two pages, you'll be able to find multiple resources because we post consistently through our different platforms for you to be able to find resources. So thank you all for joining today's webinar. I hope you've been able to learn something, and I hope you all have a good morning or a good afternoon or a good evening. This webinar is going to be recorded on YouTube on both our platforms, so you can be able to go back and listen to all the conversations that we've had today, and you can relearn and listen if you didn't hear some things, how you would want them to be. So thank you all for joining, and I hope you have a good morning or a good afternoon or a good evening. Thank you all for joining today's webinar.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye.